Hello, sixth grade history students. On Friday, you read a little bit about Christianity in the Roman Empire and how the Emperor Constantine had declared Christianity the official religion of Rome. And that was during the beginning of the fall of the Roman Empire. Today, we're going to read a little bit more about the fall of the Roman Empire. I am looking here at chapter 16 from your book. I have given you a copy, a PDF file of your book in the resources folder in the history course. I also attached a copy of just this chapter to this assignment for you. So in this chapter, it's divided into sections, and we're going to take notes on each section. The first section here is called Strengths and Weaknesses. And so I'm just going to go through and read this really quickly, and then we're going to take some notes. The Roman Empire accomplished a lot for the people who lived within its boundaries. The Romans brought their own brand of law and order to the lands around the Mediterranean Sea. They built roads. Originally used to move the army from one area to the next, these roads were also used for trade and travel. The Romans built cities throughout their empire, and they improved the quality of food and water available in most places. Good government and laws protected the rights of Roman citizens and gave people the opportunity to seek justice for wrongs. The Roman Empire brought peace and prosperity that lasted for centuries. Okay, now we're going to start to talk about the fall. By the 200s CE, however, the empire was struggling with serious problems. For a long time, Romans were prosperous because the empire was continually growing. New people, lands, and trade possibilities were always being added to the empire. The army brought back riches and added new sources of tax money. But by the 200s CE, the empire had stopped growing. Okay, and as we look through here, we can see that that is the end of that section. The next section is going to be the section called Money Troubles. Okay, so let's switch and take a look at your notes. And your notes start with the section Strengths and Weaknesses. So from what we just read, we're focusing on what caused the fall of Rome. And in that section, if we go back and look here real quick, toward the end, it talked about the fall of Rome. And really in this last paragraph, it says new people, lands, and trade possibilities were always being added to the empire. The army brought back riches and added new sources of tax money. All right, this very last part here is what we're going to focus on. This last part here says that by this time, the empire had stopped growing. And so that's going to be part of the fall of Rome. All right, let's go back to our notes. So under strengths and weaknesses in this section, we can say the empire was no longer growing, and one other thing I remember from this section that we just read, when it was growing, new people, lands, and trade possibilities were being added. The army brought back riches. Those things aren't happening anymore in Rome. Oops. And that was new sources of tax money. So basically, we're saying here that they were losing money and losing riches because they weren't growing anymore. So if we go back here, we could say they were no longer gaining those riches that they were when they were growing. Okay, so our next section that we're going to read is titled Money Troubles. So let's go back to the book and we'll go into this next section. We have some vocabulary in this section. Economic is relating to the management and money and resources to produce, buy, and sell goods and services. Recession is a time of reduced economic activity when there's little buying or selling. And then inflation, a rise in prices and a fall in the purchasing value of money. Okay, so let's read about the money troubles of Rome. The empire began to show signs of weakness. Some of these were economic. So we might say we had some economic weakness happening here. By the year 200 CE, there was a significant recession. Okay, so there's another piece of information. This meant that there were fewer jobs and fewer goods available. Recessions are often accompanied by periods of inflation, and that is what happened in the Roman Empire. During a time of inflation, money is available but not worth much, so prices rise. All right, so this was a time of inflation. People would have to pay more and more for things they want to buy. The emperors tried to address the problems that came with the recession and inflation. The emperor, Diocletian, thought that he could stop prices from rising by declaring what the prices should be. This did not improve matters. The only thing that happened was that some goods became completely unavailable. Okay, so that's another thing that's happening here. Emperor Constantine thought that the problem with high prices was that more money was needed. He took gold from the pagan temples and turned it into money. But this did not help either. Inflation did not stop, and other problems developed. Recession and inflation combined to cause joblessness. With joblessness came poverty, and with poverty came crime and disease. Some Roman leaders tried giving away money and bread, but these were short-term fixes to problems that were large and complicated. Okay, so that's the end of that section, just from this page. So if we look back at some of the things I highlighted here, we had some economic problems. There was a recession. There were fewer jobs, fewer goods available. People would have to pay more for the things that they wanted to buy. Some things they wanted to buy became completely unavailable. The inflation or the rise in prices did not stop. Recession and inflation caused joblessness, which caused poverty, which caused crime and disease. Okay, so let's take some of this information back over to our notes. Okay, so we had inflation caused rise in prices, and fewer goods were available. Okay, I have a short memory, so I'm going to go back to the book. Recession and inflation caused joblessness, leading to poverty, crime, and disease. Okay, so recession and inflation caused fewer, well, they used the word joblessness, which meant people didn't have jobs. This led to crime. And what else did it say there? And disease. Poverty, crime, and disease. Let's include that too. This led to poverty, crime, can't get that there, and disease. Okay, and since I'm typing in a fairly small print, I'm really only using my first line there to fill that in. Okay, so this should give you a good idea. I'm not going to go through the whole chapter with you. I'm going to have you continue. So my suggestion to you is to do just what we've been doing. Go to the book, read the section. Once you read the section, come back into your notes and type in how information in that section talks about the fall of Rome. So you're going to look at the gap between rich and poor, which if you look back at your book, That's the next section here. It's about a page long, actually about a page and a half. And then you're going to go into the section on the Germanic tribes, Goths and Vandals, and finally the rise of Islam. And then that should bring you pretty much to the end of the chapter. This is just kind of a conclusion here. The grandeur that was Rome talks about the end of the Roman Empire. Okay, so your assignment is to finish reading the chapter and finish completing these notes. You can do what I did. You can type into the notes the way that I did, save that document on your computer, and then upload and submit it to me. Or if you would rather, you can print out these notes and then write on them with a pencil. Either take a picture or scan that, upload it and send it to me. Or your final option, if you can't do either of those, would be just to type all of your notes into the Create tab when you submit. So you've got 3 different choices, and I've explained those on the assignment. So any of those would work. They're all ways that you could get this information submitted to me in Schoology. All right, finish reading chapter 16 and taking notes, and I will talk to you again on Wednesday. Have a great day. Bye.